All right, so here's a picture of the helicopter here, the damage that was done. It was on its second test flight, and I had it about a foot off the ground, and the tail just let go, lost control. The helicopter spun hard to the right, and the tail struck the ground, and all of this damage was done. Main blades, and torque tube and tail boom and one of the links in the head. So all of this damage was caused by this one brass screw right here. That one screw came loose because it wasn't Loctited and caused the whole thing. So I bought the pieces to replace it, but this rubber insert that is between the torque tube and the tail, that did not come with any of those pieces, and I wasn't able to find it. So what I had to do was cut the old tube to get that rubber grommet out of there to reuse. And I just used a Dremel to cut it. So there's the grommet right there, and it covers a bearing that is on the torque tube. So here's a picture here. You can see the torque tube is the last piece down and on the table, and that's the grommet there. So here's the grommet. There's the bearing on the torque tube shaft. So you're going to have to reuse this grommet. It didn't come with any of the replacement parts. So there it is. I got it all cleaned up, and then I just used paper towel to make sure I didn't have any water built up. And then it's pretty much cleaned up and ready to go. This took me probably a good half hour to make sure I didn't damage that thing. I threw it in the tail tube case so I'd have it when I got back to putting the tail tube back on. So moving forward now, I continue on with the repairs, and we move up to basically the transmission area from the main gears. So loosen these screws up here to take them out. Looks like it's 5 screws on each side to take them out. And then here's the gears here. There's really only a bar with 2 gears on it, and then one more gear in the front in this little transmission case. What you're going to have to do, the way this works, is it's got these inserts, so you just need to separate the case. I just used a flathead screwdriver, a large one. I just went very slow and worked my way around so I didn't damage the case. So this is the case split in half. You can see the gears in there that are stripped out. Actually, you can't really see them too well there. Those look okay, but they're stripped. So the bar comes right out really easy. This gear took a little tap with a Phillips head screwdriver in that round circular gear and just pushed it out. Then I used my pliers to go around the bearing on the shaft and just give it a couple taps to get it down. And there's the old gear to the right and the new gear on the left, looking good. And then we've got our transmission reinstalled on the back of the helicopter, put those bolts in and snug them up. So now we move towards the tail. So in this picture here, so this is a little bit of a thing here. You got to take this clear tube that your torque tube came in and use it to push that bearing with the grommet on it up the torque tube. Okay, and then what I did was I drew a black line at the halfway mark, and then you use that little setup to push the torque tube and the insert and the bearing up into the tail boom. And so there it is. There's the finished product. The helicopter is all cleaned up, and the main rear tail boom is reinstalled, and the torque tube and the rear tail fins are put back on the helicopter, and everything is all ready to go. So working on a 650 isn't bad. I mean, the parts are really large. I mean, it's pretty easy helicopter to work on. But I just can't emphasize enough to use Loctite. Loctite every single screw that you don't want to crash your helicopter. If it's metal on metal, if the screw is going into metal, which almost all the screws are, Loctite them, or this is what can happen.